All right, on today's show, we have well-known author and speaker Jon Acuff joining us. Jon is the author of Stuff Christians Like, as well as the leader of the Quitter Movement, which we'll discuss later on today. Jon has had a pretty busy last couple of weeks. He's just wrapped his third annual Quitter Conference, as well as speaking at Catalyst on the main stage. So, Jon, amidst your busy schedule, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, it's, your book Quitter was actually a big part in kind of catapult the starting of the show, so it really is an honor to have you here.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Well, before we start, I've got a quick SCL moment that you played a big part in, actually, that I'd love to share. I had been talking to this girl a couple weeks before Quitter Conference. I came to Quitter Conference, and I had you personalize a book for this girl, and when I came back, I gave it to her. And we are now dating, and
all right.
I'm pretty sure she told me it was the Jon Acuff signed book that was, the
that
deal
pushed
breaker.
her over the edge.
Yeah, that was just like, all right, this guy's it. That's what.
Nice. Well, awesome. Well, I can't wait for the wedding invitation. I'll get you guys a waffle iron.
Perfect. Well, no, but in all seriousness, congratulations on the last couple weeks with all that you've been doing. I read your blog post about how one of your goals was to speak at the main stage at Catalyst, and you just accomplished that. So what are kind of your emotions and thoughts coming off that experience for you?
Well, it was really exciting. It was a lot of fun. I mean, part of what was fun was my wife and kids were there, so it's always good to have them along on the journey. So it was a blast. And one of the things that really helped me prepare for it was that Dave Ramsey, who I work for, has given me a chance to speak in arenas before. So I was certainly nervous because there was a lot of emotional. I've always wanted to speak at Catalyst on the main stage, but because of Dave's generosity to invite me into his audience, I felt like I had a good understanding of how an arena audience was different from a smaller crowd and kind of some of that. So it was just fun, and loved the guys at Catalyst, and it was a great time.
Awesome. So you didn't no Skittle launching at this one?
No, no. I stayed a long way away from Skittles.
Well, I was at Quitter Conference, which where we connected, and man, I just really loved it. Appreciate all the hard work you put into it. It was just an awesome time. Where did this idea to be a quitter come from? On the outset, it has such a negative connotation. How did you make it cool to be a quitter per se?
Well, I mean, it's part of my background. I was a serial quitter. I had 8 jobs in 8 years, and always kept quitting thinking the next job would be the one that made me happy or fulfilled. And what would happen is I'd have a 6-month honeymoon period, and then I'd get kind of bitter and bored and say, they don't understand me. My boss doesn't get me. And I'd jump to another job. And finally, I had to realize that every bad job I ever had, the one common denominator was me. And so for me, that began the journey of, okay, what am I really called to do? How do I do it with excellence? How do I, make sense of this talent or passion or whatever I'm trying to figure out? And so it was a multi-year process, and I was able to kind of close the gap between my day job and my dream job when I joined Dave Ramsey's team. And so that's what I wrote the book about, is here's how I did it. Here's the mistakes I made. Here's some things that went okay. Here's the things me and my wife didn't do well as a couple. Here's how you could do it too. And so really wanted to create a kind of step-by-step, here's what it looks like to, quit average. As you experienced the Quitter Conference, I talk very little about your day job because it's not what I want to focus on. I talk a lot about how do you quit average, because for some people, they might keep their day job. I mentioned my friend Bob, who's a really successful lawyer, and he calls that his fundraising, because his job as a lawyer enables him to financially do some wild things that are changing the face of Uganda. And without that relationship, and so it's not always that you have to follow the exact path I do, but my hope is that people will figure out a way to quit average.
Yeah, I love that term. You tell people you're going to a Quitter Conference, it's like, well, what's that about? But it's fun.
They think you're going to stop smoking. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't have a drug problem, but no, I love that term of quitting from being average. I think it's awesome. What were some of your personal highlights? I'd love to hear from the. Or do you have any moments that stuck out to you from the conference?
The moment that sticks out to me, there's a couple. One was when we did voices exercise, and for folks that weren't there, it's kind of this idea of what do your internal voices of fear and doubt often say. And a friend of mine named Al Andrews asked me that question, and he said, nobody has a positive internal voice. Nobody's internal voice says, "You sure are pretty enough. You sure are skinny enough. That new plan is going to work well." And so you were there, and on Friday night, I asked the audience, okay, just shout them out. What do your voices tell you? And fear always fears community. So for the first time, a lot of us got to be in the same room and realized we weren't the only one with a certain fear or doubt or voice. And my favorite part was probably when somebody yelled out from one side of the crowd, "My voice says I'm too old," and somebody else yelled out, "Mine says I'm too young." And I got to stop there and go, see, they can't both be right. They can't both be right, and really gave, that's when the room changed for me. And then I'd say the other moment was telling the ending story about what we did in Vietnam and my daughter's involvement in that, and having her in the crowd for me was really emotional and a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh man, and then I'm sure there's many moments in between for sure, and definitely the Serene concert was just icing.
It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah. I love telling people that at one point the bassist was like playing his bass like a cello. It's just
and then he picks up a trumpet, and then he's got a xylophone. Like, it was unbelievable.
So what's your vision for Quitter moving forward? I know you had talked about you really want to build this community. I loved what you were saying about how this is going to be put in schools. For me, being a recent college grad, it's like, why is this stuff not being taught in schools? It's so practical. I guess, so what's kind of your vision moving forward? Well,
the next book will release in the spring, and it's kind of a continuation of the conversation of what does it look like to escape average. And so that's probably the next step, and I'm really trying to widen the conversation and give more people a chance to plug into it. One of the things I'm really excited about going forward is, how do I celebrate quitters? I've got a platform right now, and I won't have it forever, and it's really not mine. I mean, it's built off other people that are reading and engaging, and so I really want to do a better job of finding people who are chasing a dream and celebrate them, both to encourage them, but also to introduce them to 100,000 of their fans, and say, hey, like, that was what was so fun about the Quitter stage, was that I put out a blog post that said, hey, if your Quitter dream is to build stages, I'll give you some money, apply, and you can come build the Quitter stage. And we had a bunch of people apply, and we picked a couple from Chicago, and they built an amazing stage and got to live out of their dream, and we got to, support that. So I'm excited about the new book coming out, and also excited about continuing to find ways to help foster community, because I think that's one of the things. People come to the conference and go, okay, what now? How do I form a Quitter group? How do I continue this journey? So love to figure that out with an app or a better community site. There's a lot of things on the horizon.
Cool. So what are you allowed to share about the book coming out without giving away too much this spring?
Sure. Well, I'd say that a big part of it is about the need to start. I'm a big believer that the only line we control is the starting line. We have no control over the finish line. And so you've got to start, and that 100% of the ideas you don't start fail. But sometimes we've kind of mutated the Stephen Covey idea of begin with the end in mind and to begin with the end in stone. And so a lot of us won't start something until we know the 52 steps to the end. And so the book's a lot about how do you start and how do you start the right thing. And then the overarching idea is that, as I shared at the conference, there's 5 things that every awesome life does. And right now, because of a couple factors, they can be faster and accelerate in ways they've never been before. And so that's what the book's about. How do you walk down that kind of road to awesome versus the road to average?
Very cool. So it's definitely a compliment to Quitter. And I think you said it's coming out in February?
April 23rd.
Okay.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, man, I really appreciate you stopping by. Like I said, I miss your crazy busyness and schedule.
I know, man. I was looking forward to it.
So, but yeah, well, I'd love to get you back on probably once the book stuff comes out, and we can talk a little bit more and share some
let's
more
do
of
it
what
in May.
you've done. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I'd love to do that.
And if you'd like to follow Jon Acuff, it's at Jon Acuff. He posts hilarious tweets and great sunset pictures on Instagram as well. So
it's true. I do have a tendency to do that often.
Yeah.
Or if I'm in Tampa, it's water pictures.
Yeah, well, that's where I live, so it's fun to post some pictures, especially if you got right on Bayshore.
Oh yeah. My brother lives a couple blocks off of Bayshore.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
I've gone jogging up that shore, and I'm excited about your upcoming wedding with this girl that I connected you with. It's so great.
I'll have you. Yeah, you'll definitely have to get a toast or some kind of
Some
special.
sort of gift, yeah.
But you're not allowed to play Gangnam Style. It's
Hey, oh man, what a fail on my part. Oh, it's ridiculous.
That was hilarious. But John, no, I really appreciate you, man. Appreciate your vision and what you're striving for, and just your willingness to share your platform. I think it's really awesome, and
let me know how I can help. Shoot me the link when you've got it up, and I'll support it any way I can, man.
Okay, thanks, John.
All right,
Appreciate
I'll see you,
it.
Daniel.
Okay.
Bye.